Well, tonight, Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association clash with the National Labour Commission as they defy the NLC's orders to call off their strike.
We won't call off the strike when the Minister of Finance approves the condition of service that has already been negotiated for implementation. We are not saying that implement everything, pay us today, otherwise you won't come to work. We are reasonable people.
It's unfortunate that they say they will not call it off. The purpose of calling off the strike is to enable parties have a cooling off period to be able to engage and then reach a resolution.
Details as the Labour Commission serves notice it will head to court to compel the nurses and midwives to return to their posts.
The employers of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association will write to the Commission on that note, and then we will trigger next steps from there. It can include going to court for an injunction on them.
Well, we'll have more on this particular story as the health minister begs the nurses for mercy, urging them to return to post.
Even if one person absents himself or herself from going to work, it has its own implications. I am ready to be on board fully to make sure that we have an amicable solution to this matter and they return to the various hospitals and then do what they are supposed to do for the betterment of the country.
We have details here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecom, connecting energies. Well, tonight, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association clash with the National Labour Commission as they defy the NLC's orders to call off their strike. The nurses say government must consider its stance on the situation and help avert the potential damage the strike will bring to the health system. According to them, they have already signed an agreement with government, and all they're asking for is for the implementation of that particular agreement. But the National Labour Commission also says the nurses have to call off their strike to pave way for an agreement to be reached on the way forward. We'll hear from both parties, but first, medical doctors at various public health facilities across the country were left overwhelmed with works as the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association intensified industrial action over conditions of service entered day 2. Today, the medical director of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, RAGE, Dr. Leslie Issa Adum Zakaria, in an interview with Joe News, reviewed the strike has caused major disruptions at the facility.
The challenge we are facing is that doctors have to do some of the work of the nurses. We don't have rotation nurses supporting us because the rotation nurses are challenged. They cannot work unsupervised, so they are not available. So the doctors have to do what they can do for the nursing aspects and then still do their work. So we are a bit we are under pressure. We hope that things get better. The rotation nurses are like national service people who are supposed to work under supervision. If we bring them alone here, that means that they are going to work without supervision because their bosses are on strike. So unfortunately for us, they are uncomfortable to work unsupervised, so they are not available.
So that is the medical director of the RAGE Hospital who has been talking to us about the impact of this. We'll take you across the country to gauge the impact of this strike on health delivery in other parts of the country. But earlier in our previous bulletins, you could get the sense of how this is impacting on the healthcare delivery in other parts of the country. We'll take you there now for us to have some update from the Volta region, from the Eastern region, to really understand what is happening. Let's try and take you across the country now. Okay, so we have Rafiq Salam who's joining us from the Upper West region. Rafiq, earlier you reported of a pregnant woman who was bitten by a snake. Any update on that and how the strike is biting?
Hello?
Rafiq, if you heard me, I want an update on the pregnant woman who was bitten by a snake and an update also on how the strike is impacting on healthcare delivery in that part of the country.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Rafiq, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you now.
Good. So I'm asking for an update on the situation in your region in terms of the strike by the nurses and midwives.
In terms of the strike embarked on by the GRNMA in the Upper West region, I can report to you that the situation hasn't changed that much, though there are other unions who are also working, talking about the UCNMJ, and then also doctors who are still working. The situation is still same. I reported to you earlier that we have doctors who are now, if they are not even tripling their services, they are doubling their efforts.
Okay.
Something that they are not supposed to do. They have moved beyond consultancy services in the region, and are now the ones doing the medication. They are now the one running nursing services in the region.
Okay, Rafik, do you have any update on
has
that?
Resulted in,
Rafik, I want to find out from you whether you have any update on that pregnant woman on whom you reported earlier. So Rafik doesn't seem to hear me. Let me take you to the Western region, where our regional correspondent in Nathalia Konsa is joining us now. In Nathalia, what can you report for us from the Western region? Do I still have you?
Yes, Kojo. So, just like it's happening across the country, I have visited the Chris Meeting Hospital, Efiam Konsa, the Takrade Hospital, and then I have also done some checks in other parts of the Western region, and the situation is the same. Nurses are on strike. They are not working. But for some hospitals, it seems that the patients are already aware of the situation. And so, for instance, for Christmeeting on Wednesday, that is when they have a lot of patients coming in, those with diabetic cases and then hypertension. But yesterday, the number was few because most of them had heard of the strike. It's a very dire situation. Medical superintendents across these hospitals tells me that it isn't easy for them managing the hospitals without these nurses. They are only pleading with governments that whatever their conditions are, if they can meet them as early as possible, it will be the best before we get to hear any unforeseen story or anything that within the region. So, Kojo, the Western region is really feeling the impact of the strike by the midwives and the nurses.
I hope you have not been affected, though.
No, Kojo.
Okay, all right, then I'll give details. But let me take you to the Ashanti region for an update on what's happening. Clinton Yeboah has been monitoring the situation for us, and he joins us now with some update. Clinton, what more can you tell us? Hello, Clinton.
Hello, Kojo.
Yeah, so I want to find out from you any update you can report for us. We came to you in the afternoon, but from then till now, what update do we have?
Well, Kojo, currently patients and their accompanying relatives who already spent a night at the hospital premises in hopes that they'll be attended to as late as this evening are still there because they are likely to spend another night at the premises. They're still stranded and camped at the corners of the hospital because no nurse or no doctor has attended to them. What is currently happening is that they are able to get a consultation from the doctors. From there are no nurses to direct them to a further office. So they are compelled to either stay around in hopes that the nurses would attend to them or make their way out of the hospital.
Interesting. Thank you to you, and keep monitoring so that we can really get update every that moment. Let me take you to the Volta Regional, where Ivy Setoji is standing by for us. Ivy, we've been going across the country to understand what's happening in terms of this strike. What can you report for us from the Volta region?
For now, most of the nurses or the workers are not working. A few of them who were even sane just sits down doing nothing. At the OPDs, mostly most of the places we visited, we didn't see any of the health workers, the nurses working there. Even today, some of them were told had trainings by some organizations. That's World Vision. They started the training before this strike, so they are concentrating on that. So for now, they are not working. I was in Hokwe yesterday. The OPD was empty. No nurse was there to attend to patients. So some of them were seen, but nothing really is happening. Their presence is not being felt.
Grateful to you, Ivy Satoji from the Volta region there. Now, this whole situation has caused the NLC, the National Labour Commission, to order for the striking nurses to call off their strike and return to the negotiating table to help reach an agreement on the way forward. But the nurses say they will not back down until the signed conditions of service is approved for implementation. David Tinkrine is the General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association.
It is also time for government to heed to their core and sign or approve the condition of service. I must say that this is regrettable, it's painful, but it's necessary. We think that we've been taken for granted for far too long, and this is a time to assert our rights as nurses and midwives. If people don't consider us as essential service, we know that our services are essential. Let me tell you something. Nursing and midwifery is the fulcrum around which the health system revolves. So those who don't know will get to know.
But David, do you believe your demands justify the disruption in healthcare delivery as we're seeing today?
I'm saying that we shouldn't have gotten to this far if those who are seized with authority to do the right thing have done that. I'm saying that we are not going back to any negotiations. We have signed the condition of service. It's been negotiated, it's been signed, it's been sealed. What we are asking for is approval for implementation. This is a statement I want to make emphatically.
But this agreement, so David, this agreement was agreed in the Eswell administration. The Ministry of Health says that the minister is yet to review the agreement. Is it not fair for him to go through the agreements and know what he is agreeing to? At least come to the negotiation table, speak with him, get to know his mind, where it is, and then you can proceed from there instead of going on a strike.
That's the painful aspect of it. How long has the minister been in office? And let me tell you something. We don't deal with government. We deal with the employer. Government will change, employers still remains the same. Apart from the sector minister, who else has changed as far as the ministry is concerned? So the document is not something that is not known to people. The content is known. And let me make this clear to you that every other health worker is enjoying this same condition of service or even better.
So that's David Tinkrine there. We'll be finding out more from him later on. But the health minister, Kwabena Minta Kando, is assuring that the government is committed to dealing with the situation to avert the negative toll the strike is having on the health system. He's been speaking to Joy News editor Elton Brobe on the Pulse on the Joy News channel a while ago.
For the past 3 to 4 months, I've been engaging them. And in some cases, we try to get resolution to some of the issues. I was a bit taken aback when there was no communication whatsoever, and it just came as a shock that we've declared a roadmap that we are embarking on a strike. I believe that in all these matters, my brothers and sisters should put the Ghanaian patient into consideration. We are not tired. We are operating an open door policy, and I am ready to engage and meet anybody at any given time. Not until we find a lasting solution to the matter, we will not relax. Just yesterday, all the other stakeholders were brought on board. We were around the table. Minister of Finance was around the table. Fair Wages was there. Labour Commission. But my brothers and sisters couldn't come. You understand? And there was a ruling to that effect. But that is not even my interest. We are the mother ministry, and we must behave as mothers. And so we are calling on them to come and let's talk. Look, we have been in constant interaction with the Minister of Finance, and this goes beyond the Ministry of Health.
But our understanding is that the matter is now on the decks of the finance. It may not be your problem, but because they are under in terms of employment, but what our checks suggest that it is up to now to the Minister of Finance to sign off on it so that this can have some kind of implementation.
But not until I cannot absolve myself completely from it, unless you are absolving me. But I cannot absolve myself or my ministry completely out of it until the full implementation of the agreement. We cannot take ourselves from it because we are their employees. Okay? And so, yes, I agree that where it has gotten to, the minister or the Minister of Finance will have to play a key role of which we are engaging the ministry. But I can tell you the Minister of Finance is committed in finding solutions to this matter. He is so committed. I'll be speaking to him, but we cannot be on a strike and negotiate at the same time.
Right.
With the greatest of respect, I think they must come. Even today, this night, they want to meet me. And I've been trying to reach out to them, So, listen, all that I'm saying is that, look, we do not want to underrate the impact of the industrial action, not at all. I am not ready to underrate it. Even if one person absents himself or herself from going to work, it has its own implication. So not until this matter is resolved, I am not prepared to relax. And I'm not ready to push responsibility onto anybody. I'm not ready to, say, because it's not a matter of the Ministry of Health, no. That is not what I'm interested in.
This is still top story brought to you by Telecom Connecting Energies. Let me now bring you David Tinkran. He's General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. David, grateful for you to join us here. Now, you listened to the minister there, and if you listen to him, there seemed to be that commitment to resolve the matter. Why don't you reconsider your posture to help solve the issues for which you are calling on government to deal with? Hello, David. If you can hear me, I want to find out from you. The health minister has shown that commitment to help deal with the matter. Why don't you reconsider your posture to help bring, that solution that we're all looking for?
All right. Good evening, my brother, and good evening to your listeners and viewers. I must admit that throughout the engagement that we have had with the sector minister, he'd been forthcoming. However, I just want to place this on record and to let Ghanaians know that, number one, our target is not the ordinary Ghanaian. Our target is not the government. We think that we've been taken for granted for far too long. And the second thing I want to say is that there is nothing to negotiate. And that is where I don't get the minister. The condition of service has been negotiated. It's a legal document which is binding. That's why we call it collective agreement. It has been agreed by both parties. The government party was led by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. It's sealed and dusted. All what is left, and I'm very happy you talked about the fact that the finance minister, your check shows that the finance minister is who is left to do whatever he's supposed to do. Look, until this administration came to office, the document was almost at the verge, at the precipice of implementation. All right. And then there was change of government. Obviously, we deal with employers, we don't deal with government. But of course, the employer is led by somebody. And obviously, if the sector minister is the one responsible for the ministry, then we will give him that benefit of the doubt. And he told us that we should give him some little time. We asked for timelines. We were never given any timelines. And you cannot be sent into a meeting by over 128,000 members. And when you return, and they ask you what were the timelines that the minister gave as far as the implementation is concerned, you tell them that the minister said you should give him a little more time. Okay, so that went on.
No, but he says you were around the negotiating table.
No, that is where I want to let everybody understand. We were not negotiating anything. I'm saying that, my brother, we have finished with the negotiations.
No, so what were you doing?
Let me walk you through.
Yes, I want to understand what you were doing at the table.
Okay, so we were following up on the implementation. Maybe that is what he considers as negotiations. We were following up on the implementation, not on negotiation. And he made us to understand that we should give him a little more time, which time it didn't come up. So my difficulty and the understanding I want everybody to get is that We were never, and we are not going to go onto any negotiation table. We have finished with the negotiations. The condition of service has been signed. We have a collective agreement which is binding on the employer. All what the employer must do is to sign it into implementation. Now, if during the implementation they call us to the table that look, it's done all the time. I mean, during the process of implementation, a lot of things goes on, and then we can assemble people from Control Accountant General, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, with the union. Then we say that okay, this negotiable or this thing that was negotiated goes to this person. This one goes to this category of people. That one can be done.
So I get you. But what were you expecting to hear at this table that you didn't hear that got you to declare that strike?
The fact that the Minister of Finance had approved the signed condition of service for implementation. That is the exact thing that we were looking for, and we never got it.
So that's what got you to. But the minister today, if you listen to him, he says he is the mother, or the ministry is the mother. So come to the table. They want to resolve it as a mother would when her children are in a challenge.
Why precisely why I wanted to take you through the process. I'm saying that
we've gotten your process, but I'm asking, if you listen to the minister, he says, come around the table again. Let's find a solution, an amicable solution to all this.
The solution lies with the Minister for Finance. He should just impress upon the Minister of Finance to approve that collective agreement that is binding on the employer, and we can come and sit down on the table and follow through the implementation. We are not being intransigent at all. Just that people are refusing to understand us. And that is where our pain is. This condition of service is being enjoyed by all health workers, except nurses and midwives, and even better. So what is this? And that is where sometimes we get a bit pissed off, and we feel that people don't recognize and respect our contribution within the health continuum.
But you were in this with some 4 other unions who decided that they will continue to work. Are they also enjoying the conditions for which you are all fighting for?
Absolutely. We hold a bargaining certificate. The holder of the bargaining certificate does so in trust of all the rest. So when we finish this fight, whatever dividends that will accrue, their members will enjoy. And let me tell you why the minister is speaking this way. Initially, they thought they could mobilize the splinter unions to more or less serve as strike breakers. The membership of those splinter groups are wiser. They know that they are thinking about their future. This fight is about their future. Let me tell you something. I visit some of our retired nurses and midwives. They have a club. Those in Greater Accra region meet at the Christ the King every month. I visit them. I listen to them. My brother, we will not fail this generation and the next generation of nurses and midwives in Ghana. They have bitter things to tell you when you meet these people who have dedicated their lives for 39 years, some 40 years, some 38 years to the service of
you won't back down until you have that agreement signed?
Absolutely. Until it's approved. If they approve it this evening, tomorrow we call off the strike action. We are not saying that they should implement the condition of service entirely before we call off the strike. No. If you do that, it will be unreasonable.
Okay.
What we are saying is that it is a collective agreement and it's binding on the employer. And therefore, the employer should approve it for implementation. If they approve it, we can sit down and look at the nitty-gritties of it and implement same. If you can approve it for others, why can't you approve it for nurses and midwives?
Okay.
My brother, let me tell you something.
I'm grateful to you, but stay with me. Let me bring in now Patrick Boakye-Yiadom. He is Deputy Ranking on the Health Committee of Parliament to help us understand what Parliament could do in all of this. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. You've listened to the Health Minister. You've listened to the Nurses and Midwives Association. I mean, what do you think the Health Committee in Parliament can do to help resolve this matter?
Well, thank you. And let me extend my greetings to your cherished listeners. It's pathetic we find ourselves in this situation. But my brother, let me tell you, I detest this attitude of government, this lackadaisical, feet-dragging attitude of actors in power. This concern has been on the table since they took over. I'm sure it was contained in the handing over notes, like I said yesterday. So what steps has the minister taken to come to terms with this nurses group, to understand the conditions, and by now should have taken steps to implement the conditions? Now we are talking about approval at the office of the Ministry of Finance. Nurses are such an important cadre of health workers that whose concerns and grievances shouldn't be toyed with. If you understand healthcare system in Ghana, you understand nurses form an important chunk of cadres. And if they've secured a new collective bargaining agreement, what is the government waiting for?
So what will you do? You are in Parliament. You have authority. Will you summon the finance minister to Parliament, or what will you do to help resolve this whole matter?
Well, we've started. You see, when issues like this come up, you start the unofficial talking. I mean, convincing the health minister, convincing the finance minister to do the needful. My brother, like David said, there is no time to go to the negotiating table when all that has been done some time ago. So what we will do is that if we don't hear anything positive from the Minister of Finance, maybe Monday we'll summon him to the committee meeting and find out what are the challenges, what are the bottlenecks. Other than that, I feel this is a long overdue. This is an issue that is long overdue, and I think actors in office should do the needful, and then we'll have our peace.
I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. Let me go to the NLC, because they play a huge part in all of this. And Julia Puawovi is Assistant Public Affairs Officer. Julia, the nurses claim that you flouted the law because you didn't respond to their letter warning of this impending action in time. Why did that happen when you knew that your response also has a role to to play in whether the nurses will go on strike or not?
Okay, good evening once again. We kindly give me a minute.
So that is the NLC there. Julia, if you're ready, I want to now move away from that and ask you. You know what the nurses are asking for. What will you do? What will you do to get an answer from their employer so that all of this is over? Julia, if you can hear me, I want to find out from you what the NLC will do now that you know what the nurses are asking for. What will you do to compel the employer to do what they're asking for so that there's a solution? Hello, Julia.
Yes, please.
Yeah, did you hear my question?
No.
I'm asking, what will the NLC do? The nurses are asking for something. What will you do to ensure that there's an amicable solution to all of this?
Yes. So what the National Labour Commission did was to, first of all, direct that the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association call off their strike with immediate effect, as well as for them to return to their respective facilities immediately, which they haven't done as of now. As a result, the Commission has secured an injunction on them to call off the strike with immediate effect.
No, but they said, well, they would not do it. So what will you do?
They would not respect the court order to call off the strike. It would be in contempt if they don't call off the strike. So there is a need for them to call off the strike so that parties can meet to engage and reach an amicable settlement on the matter.
So when did you secure this injunction?
Today.
Okay. I mean, have you served it on the association?
Yes, I believe we have done that. Our dispatch has done that.
Okay, I'm grateful to you, Julia. Puawovi there is with the NLC. And that's how we wrap up Top Story, brought to you always by Telecom Connecting Energies. My name is Samuel Kojo. Up next is Newsnight.
Tonight, Administrator of Minerals Development Fund and her team of security personnel escaped death. Accuses the police of conspiring with gun-wielding thugs to attack them, highlighting the growing tension in Ghana's fight against illegal mining.
Everything we went through in the village, it was between life and death issue, where you've been held basically hostage under gunshots because you arrested these Chinese who have committed such crime.
Also tonight, new study exposes secretive networks behind illegal mining, including increased sexual exploitation of women in mining areas, the use of casinos to wash the money, and growing use of cyanide.
The small-scale mining by law is not for excavators to be used. Small-scale mining is only for cutlasses and hoes and pickers, not excavators.
And government's ban on importation of excavators without a license kicks in. All that here on Newsnight. Plus, minority to roll out series of civil action against government over imposition of 1 cedi levy on every litre of fuel if government does not cancel or reduce the levy.
We call on the government to immediately withdraw or reduce this predatory levy and instead focus on genuine reforms to improve the efficiency and transparency of the energy sector.
We have details as the minority say they will not hesitate to hit the streets.
We are going to bear our teeth at the government. They simplify and say demonstration. There are a lot of things we are going to do. And if we find it necessary to go on demonstration will form a microscopic aspect of the series of actions that we are going to stage.
Also on the subject, transport operators are threatening strike over the new fuel levy.
We are therefore calling on government to reverse the levy immediately. In the event that our call is not heeded to, we will be compelled to take industrial action.
In business, Bank of Ghana posted an operating loss of 9.4 billion Ghana cedis for last year, but the situation is improving, whilst bold measures are being taken to 10th round.
And sports will tell you about Chelsea's major attempt to use two of their players in a deal to secure Ghana's Mohamed Kudus from West Ham to bolster the attack.
We have details for you, plus your views and comments. 0551111 That is the WhatsApp line. My name is Evans Mensah. Details after this.
See, I beg, fix me go betete Ghana. No gari, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, brah, that be dangerous combination, no?
Problem no day. I feel handle am.
For Telecom, we the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, if you get your own data and call packages, falla! Made For Me bundles like the way you the want town. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telecom. Connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, I sleep.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302-681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Papa no no, 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 Ankasa. Polytank is everywhere, durable and authentic. Stronger brand you can trust. Polytank, we get some more Rambo and get some more Super. And the Polytank we did. Polytank, papa no no, 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 Ankasa.
always the best.
You're live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. The administrator of the Minerals Development Fund, Dr. Hannah Bisu, and her team faced a harrowing ordeal when gun-wielding thugs allegedly linked to illegal mining operations held them hostage. The terrifying encounter unfolded amidst gunshots, curses, and machetes. Now, this brazen attack comes on the heels of a major discovery, a fuel station deep within the Akomfra Forest Reserve in the Ashanti region, suspected of supplying fuel to heavy equipment used for illegal gold mining. Now, a Minerals Development Fund task force led by Dr. Bisu conducted a raid, arresting several Chinese nationals believed to be behind the operation. The incident highlights the growing tensions in Ghana's fight against illegal mining. Joy News' Blazer Soga reports from the community where a raid led by the Minerals Development Fund task force resulted in the arrest of several Chinese nationals suspected of masterminding the illegal mining operation.
Residents of Akomfra in the Ashanti region are shocked at the revelations of this morning's raid led by the Minerals Development Fund. The Minerals Development Fund, together with security agencies, in the early hours of today, apprehended some foreign nationals who are believed to be part of the syndicate leading illegal mining operations within the forest reserve found within this community.
The community is fed up. And in fact, the communities are fed up. They are fed up that they destroy the land, they destroy the water bodies, and at the end of the day, they're going to blame government. Because they want water, government has to provide. They want this, government has to provide. For these Chinese who said they don't even feel sorry for what they've done, they've destroyed our water bodies, they've done so much. We will also push to make sure that the law takes its course. But if they are going to be deported, it should not be before they pay for the restoration of offering.
In fact, let's hear from the horse's own mouth. Hello, how are you?
How are you?
I'm fine. Are you responsible for what we see here? You? Were you the one who did this?
No.
You're not the ones?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
So what are you doing here?
No.
You're not the one who did this?
No, sir.
Are you sure you're not the one?
No.
But you can see.
No.
Where's the machine?
Machine, no city.
You?
Me house yesterday come.
Oh, you came yesterday?
Yesterday come.
From where? Which country?
No city.
Which country did you come from? China?
China.
We're within the Jamura Forest Reserve of the Ashanti region. And as the name will have it, it is a forest reserve. And of all the things you'd expect to see in a forest reserve, obviously, will be animals and vegetation cover. But Joy News is now uncovering, guess what? A fuel station located in the heart of a forest reserve. And guess what it is doing? It is fueling all of these machinery and earth-moving equipment ostensibly belonging to illegal miners who are digging deep into the heart of this forest reserve and destroying all that's left of it.
Well, we're hearing from the administrator of the fund, and she says the police conspired with thugs to ensure the legal Chinese miners escaped arrest.
I think if I say I was shocked, it would be an understatement. There are two things that we saw: the destruction of the forest in the community and the destruction of Ofin River. Ofin is completely gone. They've cut off one community from the other, so the children in the other at the other side of Ofin cannot come to school. So they've been out of school for weeks, if not months. We were there in one of the sister communities last week, and they complained bitterly. So we had to use some sort of strategy to get into the community today, because anytime you try the normal way, and we saw a major destruction of Ofin. Ofin has completely been diverted. It's turned to red, and huge pits. A small community has about 40 excavators, and there's a filling station that takes care of these excavators in the middle of the forest. And we have these Chinese. They had actually gone to the mine and they had come back. We waited for them to come, and then we apprehended them and we went back to their site. Some of the excavators, as we got there to the site, they took them away. But What is happening is disastrous. I heard, I think one of your guests talking about the Mineral and Mining Act, Amended Act 2019. This section 3 talks about foreigners when they are caught doing mining, what should be done to them. So as we speak, we have pushed for court. We went to court, and so we did not sleep on it, went to court. But before we got here, even in the village, so we had these thugs coming and besieging the place, besieging us, basically hostage, gunshots everywhere. They will not allow us to go with the Chinese.
Today?
Yes, today, this morning. Yes, this morning. It was a hostage style of thing, you know, and machetes hitting the vehicles, and not let us go, shooting, and the villagers, everybody was running. And what I said was that, come hot me, these Chinese will go with us. You can shoot. The only thing, my concern was, you know, we had journalists with us. I mean, for the journalists, yes, but for the rest of us, you become part of the security task force.
Right.
We managed to push through, finally, through a lot of struggle and hustle. Then we got to Inahimi police station. Then the police asked them to block us again, these same thugs, to divert us and direct us to release the Chinese to them. That place, I really got upset, because with everything we went through in the village, it was between life and death issue, where you've been held basically hostage under gunshots because you've arrested these Chinese who have committed such crime against humanity, crime against our water bodies, crime against our forests, crime against our nation. Then we manage to pull through. We get here, then you bring them to block us again with wielding guns and stuff. So I came out and I said, look, enough of this. So I told the police commander that we are not leaving even a pin with you, because it happened in your jurisdiction and it's just around the corner. Last time we were here, they escaped. Today we've come for them.
Right.
So we went to the police at the central police station and we went to court. So they've been reminded. And we're going to push for the enforcement of the law, the act, the Mineral and Mining Amendment Act in 2019, the section 3. It talks about the penalties points that they should be either of the penalty points or imprisonment 20, not less than 20 years, and not more than 25 years.
Right.
Or you can do both.
Exactly.
We are going to push this time for both, you see, because these communities, if you see the state in which these communities are, you can't even describe it.
Shocking revelations indeed, and we're getting some reaction from civil society. The Deputy National Director of Arocha Ghana, Darabusi, says government must deal ruthlessly with those behind this, including the police officers we just heard the Anabisu disclose had blocked the road, putting their lives in even graver danger.
Very disturbed by the news that is coming up now, and even the impunity with which illegal actors are now thinking that they can attack people who are going about their duty, official duty. It's very, very, very unfortunate. And I think that when it comes to Galamsey and the fight against it, the government can do more, they can do better. There is no reason why this impunity should still continue. I think we've really treated this with kids' gloves, and I don't understand it. It shouldn't happen that even 6 months down the line, the government, we have still issues like this coming up day in and day out. And we'll finish with, what do you call it, Adroa crime. Now we're getting to know about the filling station in the forest reserve. It is very, very serious. And I don't know why the government is still being very careful with this. I mean, we need to go at them with all the force that we can muster, and there's no reason why we should do that. And that's why I tend to agree with the CEO for EPA, saying that it is giving helicopters and some guys to the rivers and all of that. I think we are joking with this.
I want to bring in right now Dr. Adam Bona. He is he heads the Small Arms Commission, the executive secretary there, and joins us on the line right now. Mr. Bona, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. What's your reaction to what you're just hearing there from Anna Bishu, the Minerals Development Fund administrator, and what's the harrowing ordeal she just describes, and the role of the police in all this, even after they had escaped death?
Well, Evans, good evening. And congratulations to Dr. Hanabisu and the arresting team. What has happened over the years is the radicalization of a lot of our young people who are armed to the teeth. And some of us kept talking and talking, but not much was done. And so if you ask me, I would say that it is as a result of inactivity to prevent illicit weapons flow into this country. And I have repeated several times that if you take away these weapons in Galamsey areas, Galamsey would be fought easily. You heard the harrowing narrative from my colleague, Dr. Bisi, with regards to how these guys ambushed them, took them hostage with impunity, with all manner of firearms. And so I would say that from my point of view, we are collaborating with other security agencies whilst going through the process of getting our bill, hopefully go through the process and be laid so that the defective arms law we have can be a thing of the past. The current arms law we have is so defective so much so that people are holding all manner of firearms with impunity. And without regulation, it will be very difficult. You heard Anabisu refer to, the law. Mine is that once the law is there, anytime you want it to apply, it will apply. But people are caught with firearms, and the punishment is so minimal. The fines are so minimal. If there is imprisonment, very minimal. And so to stop what M16 in the north, and I will tell you that this is as a result of inactivity to prevent this in the past. But with the research agenda in place, I am sure that we will get this bill passed.
But what about the role of the police in this? Mr. Bona, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm asking you about the role of the police in this particular harrowing episode that Anabisu and her team got trapped in. Also because we know that the IGP has been implementing the directive by the Interior Minister to reshuffle. In fact, not reshuffle, just simply remove police commanders in areas where they have illegal mining. Not only does this area have illegal mining, when the Chinese were arrested, according to Hanabisu, the police, when they finally got out of the trap, then became complicit in blocking the road, almost giving them up back to the Chinese and the gun-wielding thugs who were following them.
I think it should be investigated, Evans. I must say, we have some. Unfortunately, some rogue police officers. If what Dr. Hanabisu is saying is anything to go by, we have some rogue police officers who are in uniform. Who, if you ask me, I'll say have no reason to be in uniform. And so, even when the nation is crying that illegal mining should be stopped, and you have literally civilians together with armed security state agencies going in to apprehend these people, which should have been the work of you, the sector commander. You sat there, if you ask me, per the narrative, and they nearly ambushed them and took away these Chinese. It's pathetic, if you ask me. And sometimes it makes me want to go back to my civil society days. But you see, I'm sure the IGP, Mr. Yohonu, will deal with this. Definitely, he's rolling out this whole Galamsey agenda, and I want to believe that definitely this would have come to his attention, and he would investigate this. And if there is any truth to what, I don't doubt what Dr. Hanabisu is saying, so that this police officer and those involved are punished. First of all, how come you have a fuel station in the middle of a forest, within a sector that is manned by a police command, And so mine is that It doesn't matter what the rest of us in Accra would do. It doesn't matter what the IGP, the president, any of us will do. If you have accomplices like this, then we have a problem. The only thing we need to do is to be bold and face them and call them out and make sure they are punished.
Indeed. Anambona, thank you very much. And he heads the Small Arms Commission there. And still on this particular matter of dealing with the illegal mining threat, the Transport Ministries tonight indicating that with immediate effect, the ban on the importation of excavators without license is currently in force. And so you can no longer import excavators into this country unless you have a license to do so. And they have issued a notice to this effect, asking all shipping lines should now desist from transporting excavators into the country without the required permit. Dealers and importers of excavators are to obtain a permit from the Ministry of Transport prior to importation. The Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Professor Nana Makluche, insists excavators imported into the country must also be tracked.
Yes, we have to fight the forest illegal activities. We have to fight the land illegal activities. As the earlier speaker said, some of the excavators used in the mining are tracked. Not all excavators in the country are tracked. In fact, it was in the EPA's plan to track all the heavy and earth-moving machines until recently. So we were putting our documents together until recently I had the announcement of the Gold Board in tracking excavators. It's not only about mining, but all excavators need to be tracked, and then we have to monitor the activities of such excavators. Because the intention could be for maybe road construction, but eventually will end up in a mining site. The small-scale mining by law is not for for excavators to be used. Small-scale mining is only for cutlasses and hoes and pickers, not excavators. So we've gone beyond using the cutlasses and hoes and now using excavators for small-scale mining. If it's medium-scale and large-scale, yes, excavators are used, and even bigger or higher technologies are used. But small-scale and even the illegal activities that is going on is really destroying our environment.
And also today there is a fresh report from the global initiative based in Geneva, Switzerland, and with the harrowing details of how criminal networks are now taking over the illegal mining trade, with sex trafficking and money laundering now very rife. Indeed, they also detail how casinos are now become the means through which the money laundering happened within some of the communities, including the area that's we've been reporting there. Dr. Gideon Opiesa joins us on the line right now. He's an extractive analyst with the Global Initiative, and he joins me now. Doc, I'm grateful for your time here on Newsnight. Give us a bit more about this report. What else does he say about the communities where we've seen illegal mining thrive? The presence of these criminal networks, the money laundering, the sex trafficking that we now know it's also part of the illegal mining crisis.
Thank you, Wendell. Good evening to your listeners. So, in the last 3 years, we set out to conduct a study on Ghana's assistance small-scale goods sector. We see the sector as very evolving and then dynamic. I heard the EPA boss say that it used to be whole scholars and then all that, but we see that there is increased mechanization. We see the increased use of explosives, chemicals, cyanide. We see the increased involvement of foreign nationals, and then these foreign nationals are bringing in investment and technology. We see the activities of Chinese who are bringing in the technology, the investment that they need. We see West African nationals, particularly the Burkinabes, who are also in, then they are introducing cyanidization. And then the idea is to improve the recovery rate from gold. So it used to be mercury that we realize that they do use. Though it is being used, we are seeing a shift in the use of cyanidization, which is so complex.
And just quickly, because of time, I'm interested in the sex trafficking bit. How is it linked to illegal mining?
Okay, so you realize that illegal mining communities, all illegal mining communities in Ghana, you realize that there's an increase in sex trafficking, and then we are seeing a connection with human trafficking. Why? Because it is like there is an economy whereby these miners or traders are able to get money. Spending money is not a challenge. So it has become an opportunity for some Ghanaians together with some Nigerian corrupt whereby they bring in girls from the West Africa sub-region, particularly Nigeria and then Liberia. Some are deceived that they would be giving them better jobs, but they come, their travel IDs and then all those things are seized. And then they are asked, yes, what is the work that you produce? And then they are given pack of condoms. And then they would have to provide services to these people. So in all mining communities, you realize that we are seeing an increase in people who are trafficked, and then they are being used and they are being involved in sex work. So that is what we are saying.
This is indeed fascinating. Extractive analyst with the Global Initiative, Dr. Gideon Piazza there, talking to us about the latest report indicating the infiltration of criminal elements who are now having a global perspective dimension to this, the trafficking of sex workers into illegal mining communities, all part of the illegal mining menace. And as I've just indicated earlier, we've also learned tonight the government has activated the ban on the importation of excavators with immediate effect. You now need a permit to bring them in. Thankfully, the Transport Minister, Joseph Bukari Nikwe, joins us on the line right now with more on this. How is this going to be enforced, really? I want to bring him into the picture and understand that he is with me now. Okay. I don't seem to have him on the line. We'll try and fix that once we do have him on the line. Meanwhile, the president has been speaking about this. It tells us that 300 excavators have been seized from illegal miners across the country. He was speaking at the World Environment Day celebrations held at Kwabenya in Accra.
They have seized 300 excavators from illegal miners. 9 forest reserves were no-go areas because the illegal miners were armed to their teeth. Working together with the military and the police, they've been able to evict the illegal miners from 8 of the no-go zone forest reserves. And my understanding is that they're in the process of liberating the last of the 9 red zones. We are told that 44 of our forest reserves have been invaded. We have 288 forest reserves in Ghana, and out of the 288, 44 have been invaded by illegal small-scale miners. And so the 9 are the red zone where they were armed to the teeth. Those were the more difficult ones, and so they decided to tackle those first. And now they'll move on to liberate the other 44 forest reserves so that we stop gaps. It is important for us to do so because our rivers take their source from our forest. And so if we destroy our forest, our rivers will also dry up. And so this fight is very important in order that we can hand over a good environment to our younger brothers and sisters and our children who are yet unborn.
The Transport Minister is with me tonight, Joseph Bukari Nikwe. Mr. Nikwe, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. This prohibition of the importation of excavators without a permit, from what I understand, kicks in immediately. What's the enforcement regime?
Thank you, Mr. Evans, and let me say good evening to your cherished listeners. We, the Ministry of Transport, in our support to the fight against illegal mining that we all know to be galamsey, we are putting in place this ban or this prohibition of importation of excavators into our country. Mr. Evans, if you pay a visit to the port, the Tama port, you will see an invasion of excavators in that port. And we receive over 200 excavators on daily basis into our ports.
You mean 200 excavators a day?
Over. And for 3 weeks today, when I visited the port and asked for a halt in clearing of excavators, we have had over 1,200 plus excavators in the Tama port.
You mean as we speak tonight, you have more than 1,200 excavators sitting at the ports waiting to be cleared?
Yes, please. And our intel said that on the high seas, we have close to 3,000 excavators coming in. And this is a disturbing and worrying situation. We can only stop this illegal mining if we look at the importation of excavators. And so it is on this basis that we have put a ban. But if you come and you are a registered mining company or a contractor, and we are convinced that you need excavators to engage in your activities, then you can access a permit. But if you are not in that category, we advise that you do not attempt, because we would either confiscate it or will not allow it to be cleared in our ports.
And how do you plan to deal with abuse of this particular process where, for example, the legal elements who hide behind those who are legitimately should be importing excavators only to get it somehow onto illegal mining sites?
The Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, we have put in place a task force, and the Customs Division are duty to bring out all those who have imported excavators into the country. We will profile and go into them, and that will be able to tell us who qualifies to import or to clear excavators in our port. So the customs have been charged to come out with a list of all the dealers and the importers of excavators.
And what's the penalty for importing excavators without a permit?
Well, for the penalties, they are there in the Minerals and Mining Act in 2019. And if you go through them, especially Section 99.7, it tells you the penalties that are involved in bringing in excavators and engaging them in illegal or galamsey operations.
I'm grateful, sir. That there is the Transport Minister, Joseph Bukari Nikbe. And that is the update on the imposition of this prohibition on the importation of excavators. I'm grateful that you join us with the clarification on that particular subject. And I want you to join me with your thoughts on the 05511119997. And George Jaffe is now with me with business. When we return, we'll hear from the minority. They are threatening to hit the streets if government does not reverse the 1 cedi on a litre of petrol. We'll get details for you after George is done with business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up, Bank of Ghana post an operating loss of 9.4 billion Ghana cedis for last year. We'll be telling you how its participation in the Gold for Oil program also contributed to this significant operating loss. And Chief Executive of the Telecoms Chamber, Dr. Kenashibe, steps down after 8 years of service. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Sharp! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Brush your teeth every day and night. Up and down and all around. Brush the feeling bright. Brush your teeth. Brush with mom and dad. Underneath and in between. Brush the germs away.
Pepsodent, cavity protection.
For 10 times stronger.
This advert is FDA approved.
Saswabo. Sasso, come tonton preko. Sasso, come tonton preko. Edrana drama in your busheshe. Yeah, hakasia ne malaria. Minya me kone me sasso spray. Every mosquito study run away. Come tonton preko. Sasso, mi se come tonton preko. Come tonton preko. Sasso, come tonton preko. Na ni sham ne die e demonstranko.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back to Business on Newslight, and let's settle for the details very soon. We'll be talking about the Bank of Ghana posting and operating a loss of more than that is 9.49 billion Ghana cedis for last year, compared to the 13.2 billion cedis posted in 2023. There is more in the following Business Desk report.
According to the Bank of Ghana, the loss recorded represents a significant improvement from what it posted in 2023. The central bank in a statement argued that the loss came about as a result of engagement in its core mandate, like open market operations, which contributed about 8.6 billion cedis to the overall operating loss, evaluation and exchange differences, participation in Government of Ghana's Gold for Oil program, and currency expenses, which in the 2024 financials showed that it spent about 1 billion cedis last year. However, the Bank of Ghana was quick to add that it has instituted a lot of measures that will help improve their position going forward. One of them is the decision by the Bank of Ghana to get out of the Gold for Oil program, Finance Ministry's decision to recapitalize the Bank of Ghana, and other cost-cutting measures that will be implemented to help improve its operations.
And that was a Business Desk report. Now, the participation in the Gold for Oil program contributed about 1.8 billion Ghana cedis to the operating loss. Now, this was after they actually put in a seed capital of more than 4 billion Ghana cedis. Meanwhile, economist Professor Patrick Sumin has described the 2024 financials as encouraging based on measures that the Bank of Ghana has taken to turn things around.
The first thing to notice is that much of the losses are related to their core business. That is great. It hasn't come from financing the government, which is something that we had that had caused us a lot of problem in 2022. So I think that is good. Now, and also the fact that it's trending. Of course, 2022 was an extreme year, but it's reduced from what it was in 2023, and it's trending is trending the right way. So I think that is good. But I think the equity position of the BOG still needs strengthening, and then hopefully, in the coming years, the government will deal with that.
And that is economist Professor Patrick Esumi, and the chief executive of the Ghana Telecoms Chamber, that is the engineer Dr. Kengashibe, is stepping down for the role at the end of May 2025 after nearly 8 years of service. Now, this was captured in a statement issued by the chamber earlier today. The statement said that Dr. Shibe's passion, vision, and pursuit for excellence have not only elevated the chamber but also significantly contributed to Ghana's broader national economic development. Now, the proposed energy sector levy on fuel will impact on consumers and affect prices at the pumps. The following business desk report analyzes the situation and brings out the situation to show that indeed it will impact on you.
So let's say a litre of petrol is currently being sold at 11 cedis per litre. Now, following the application of VEST levy, the price of a litre of VEST product will go up. Again, let's say prices should have gone down by 1 cedi to 10 cedis per litre in the next pricing window. VEST new levy will deprive consumers of this expected relief. So, when government says it will not affect prices, that argument is only relevant when prices are expected to go down from the 16th of this month. However, because of the levy, prices may be kept unchanged. For some, a careful look at the development on the international market also shows that the recent reduction at the pumps was not due to price of crude oil dropping on the international market, but rather the cedi's sustained appreciation. New data from the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies show that taxes constitute about 22% of every litre of petroleum products sold. The Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies is also warning that average prices of petroleum products at the pumps are expected to rise above 13 cedis per litre from the current 11 cedis. That if they start enforcing the energy sector levy on fuel.
And of course, that is an analysis about how whatever that would happen on the petroleum market and whether that 1 cedi and how that would actually impact on your pocket and the prices at the pumps. Now, the chief executive of the Ghana, that is MTN Ghana, Stephen Blowett, has underscored the need for prioritizing skills development. He spoke at the 21 Days of Yeleke initiative, a collaboration between the Opportunities Industry Center to promote technical and vocational education and training in Ghana.
These skills are what we need. They're lacking worldwide. If you do worldwide research, the skills I've seen here today is what everyone's looking for. Not many people are looking for another CEO. Lots of people are looking for the skills that exist here, and they are marketable throughout the world. So in Ghana, if we want to continue to grow our economy, if we want to have a 24-hour economy, we need people with these skills. The only thing we're bringing is saying, well, if you've got those skills, how do we help you to market them? But absolutely still firmly believe that those skills have to be there. And as I said in a previous at the CEO Summit, our role as business is to make sure that the students learning here have an opportunity to showcase their skills to the world. And that's where digital comes in. That's where we come in.
And that's the chief executive of MTN Ghana, Stephen Blowett. Let's still stay on this sector because Telecom Ghana chief executive Patricia Obonai has reaffirmed the company's dedication to environmental sustainability. The Telecom chief executive said this at the tree planting program in Chippa Forest Reserves here, that is in Dodua in the eastern region.
As part of World Environment Day and also as part of the National Tree Planting Exercise. We go out every year as management and employees in partnership with the Forestry Commission to plant trees. Over the years, we've done this work at Achimota. You go there, you see a part of it that's planted by Telecel employees. Last year, we were here in partnership with Forestry Commission at the Chippa Reserve to plant 10,000 trees. Today, I'm glad to note that we are here again to plant another 10,000. And then in the month of June, we'll be in Kumasi to do another 5,000. So this is not a fluke for the media. This is a commitment as part of our purpose as an organization.
And that's the Telecom Ghana chief executive Patricia Obonai. To the stock market, more than 7 stocks actually saw a price appreciation on the market at the end of trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange. If you are a shareholder of MTN Ghana, well, each share was up by a peso to close at 2 Ghana cedis, 81 pesos. That of Standard Chartered Bank went up by 7 pesos to close at 26 Ghana cedis. That is 20 pesos. Gold was also up by 8 pesos and is now worth 1 Ghana cedi. That is 98 pesos. Now, business on PM Express Business Edition will be engaging the new chief executive, that is Dr. Ranford Abbey, or call him Randy Abbey, on basically what measures are being put in place to try and turn around the fortunes of the sector. It's at 9 p.m. on Joy News and all our social media platforms as we talk about cocoa and Ghana's economy. The new chief executive of Cocoa Board, Dr. Ranford Abbey.
Randy Abbey. This is Ransford Abbey. I was wondering, what are you talking about? You're talking about Randy Abbey.
Yes.
Exactly.
The actual name is Ransford Abbey.
Ransford Abbey. What are you talking about? I thought Randy Abbey. Okay, Randy Abbey is going to be your guest tonight. I'm looking forward to that. Definitely. You need to catch PM Express tonight with George Riafe at 9 p.m. So live here on News 9 on Joy 99.7 FM. And many of your WhatsApp messages coming through. A few of them now. Prince says, as much as I sympathize with our nurses, I will urge them to have patience for 5 months because the government is still young. Ajiman, he says, for the excavators, some people are important to sell. So how does the ministry check to know the purpose before they allow it into the country? Musa says President Mahama has made it clear that under his leadership, illegal mining will not be tolerated in any form. Any appointee or official attempting to shield Galamsey operators should take note. And a final one from Kofi Nachimota says, on the issue of Galamsey, I don't think it will end anytime soon. I was at the Tema Port over the weekend and an uncountable number of excavators have been brought in awaiting clearance. Views there on our WhatsApp console. Tonight, the minority in Parliament, they are threatening to roll out a series of actions against the government if the controversial 1 cedi levy on every litre of fuel is not cancelled or reduced. They've been addressing the news conference today. Listening to the minority chief whip, Frank Anodompre.
We call on the government to immediately withdraw or reduce this predatory levy and instead focus on genuine reforms to improve the efficiency and transparency of the energy sector. I urge all Ghanaians to join us in opposing this unjust and economically devastating tax at all that his government has forced on us. The minority in the coming days, in solidarity with the Ghanaian people, will be staging a number of actions to demand the reversal of this tax. We consider it draconian, insensitive, and we consider it as an action that depicts of a government that is out of touch.
Let me bring in parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante, joins me on the line right now. And Kweku, so what really is their concern with the levy? And they also accuse government of being dishonest.
Well, yes, they talk about the fact that this is a bill government smuggled through in the dark of the night on the blind side of many Ghanaians, which they believe is not justified. They say that Ghanaian people must reap the benefit of the windfall of the current cedi appreciation. They say that the NDC government, having said they are not going to tax Ghanaians to fix some of these issues, and turning around and doing the exact same thing simply shows that they are being dishonest.
Dishonesty and flip-flopping is eroding public confidence at a very alarming rate. The government's action demonstrates a profound lack of sensitivity and understanding of the economic realities faced by Ghanaians. They are making promises they have no intention of keeping, and the people are paying the prices. Added insult to injury, this bill was rammed through Parliament under a certificate of urgency. So, a begging question, is it the case that this bill would not or could not have been taken through all the processes? They could not have consulted all the players, the transport owners, the transport sector, even Parliament as an institution, no consultation. They came under the dark of darkness and then introduced it under certificate of urgency. Let me put on record. The report is here. This is a majority decision. At the committee level, we disagreed on 2 accounts. 1, on the matter being taken under certificate of urgency, we don't find anything urgent about this. And also the introduction of this levy, we oppose it and said it was wrong. At the time that things were very harsh, Ghanaians are suffering. You had promised them that you were going to reduce their hardship. You turn around and stab them in the back.
And Kweku, what is their issue with ministers who receive fuel coupons?
So, Evans, in the wake of the passage of this bill and its signing into law, a number of government officials have already taken to social media talking about how they are willing to sacrifice a cedi to pay the energy sector debt. They say that the government should come out clear and explain how government officials who take fuel coupons will also contribute their due to clear this energy sector debt.
While ordinary Ghanaians are expected to bear the brunt of this tax, there is no mention of cancelling the free fuel provided to government appointees. It's a begging question. They have already communicated that there will be free fuel for government appointees, so they will not bear the brunt of this. Are they exempt from the pain they are inflicting on the rest of us? And these are begging questions we should be asking. At least, the president and his appointees should have walked the talk by cancelling the free fuel for appointees so that we can trust them to feel for us and the ordinary Ghanaian. This blatant double standard is totally unacceptable. It reeks of a government content to watch the people suffer while they enjoy privileges.
And that's a minority there, and on what they plan to do. And still on this subject, also hearing from the GPRTU. They've called a press conference today announcing that they will have turned back on an industrial action if the 1 cedi levy on every litre of fuel is not reversed.
Commercial transport operators, including GPRTU of TUC, are by this statement demanding immediate removal of the 1 cedi energy sector levy imposed on petroleum products. This levy, which is coming on the heels of the recent reduction in transport fares, will significantly increase operational costs, resulting in loss of income, which will affect our livelihood and the general public.
Thankfully, Abbas Imoro, who speaks for the GPRTU, joins us on the line right now. Mr. Imoro, this is 1 cedi on a litre. Considering that the fuel prices at the pumps are falling now within the region of 12 cedis, isn't that one that cushions you without passing on the full impact on your members?
Good evening and good evening to all listeners. Yes, the issue on hand is recently we reduced our lorry fares as cheap as 15%. Those in authority, we start with them, we engage them on the reduction before finally we did. Knowing very well that you have this under your sleeve, and kept quiet and allow us to come up with that reduction. Just for you the next day come up with this 1 cedi on the litre increment. You see, another, our job is such that we will never hesitate to protect our job. So, all we are saying is, in a very good context, they should have even engaged us and seek for our advice, ideas, but they never did. And for now, we are in the middle of the stream. If you know how to swim or not knowing how to swim, it is up to you and your fate. So, giving them up on the 10th of this month to withdraw it. They have that authority also to engage us as operators, fine. But if we did not hear anything up to on the 10th, we shall advise ourselves.
Where advise yourself means what exactly?
Oh, it could be anything we think could move those in authority to listen to us.
Abbas Imoro, thank you very much. And that there is Abbas Imoro. He speaks for the GPRTU. And Ms. Bao is here with sports.
Evans, just a quick update as far as transfer stories relating to some Ghanaian players are concerned. And this time is Mohamed Kudus, because we understand Chelsea have had some discussion with his club West Ham about possibly signing him Interestingly, Chelsea are looking to get him using two of their players. And we understand Robert Sanchez and Deuce Riho are players that Chelsea have offered to West Ham, hoping that they can get Kudus in return. But West Ham, from the reports in England, have rejected that offer by Chelsea and hoping that Chelsea will pay his release clause, which is in the region of some £85 million. That's for Premier League clubs, and we understand for clubs out in Europe, they get to buy Kudus for some 80 million, and if it's a Saudi Arabian club, then Kudus will cost them 120 million pounds. Now, West Ham is open to selling Kudus, hoping that they can raise some money to rebuild their team as they look to improve their performance come next season. That's it, Evans.
Good for him. Thank you very much, Bal. Now, in many Ghanaian homes, English has taken the place of native languages, and experts say it's putting the country's cultural identity at risk. They just ended Afro Curation Ghana 2025 event in Kumasi. Language scholars and digital activists raise alarm bells, calling for urgent action to preserve Ghana's rich linguistic heritage. Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
Typical Ghanaian household today, English dominates conversations. It is often seen as a sign of intelligence and for many parents, a point of pride. But language experts say this growing shift could have a long-term consequences. Head of linguistics at the University of Ghana, Professor Opani Kofi Ajikum, says abandoning mother tongues for English doesn't make anyone more important.
We have positive attitude towards our languages. We will not allow them to go into extinct. So what we have been doing for all the years is that we do language shift. We shift our conversation, our communication from language A to language B, thinking that the target language B is more prestigious. But I can tell you that every other language should be able to serve the people who own the language. So if we decide to have positive attitude towards our own languages, we will let our children learn the languages. We will teach our children the language. We will let our children cherish that this is another language. Then they will start learning the languages from infancy in our homes. Unfortunately, these days, in many homes in Ghana, people don't speak their native language, indigenous languages with their children. They prefer to use English, hoping that, oh, mebano or cambro for power, and that's more prestigious. Let's get back to know that since we are Africans, one of the things of our cultural heritage is our language.
He made the remarks at the Afro Creation Ghana 2025 event at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, which brought together over 80 participants and language experts to create Wikipedia content in 7 Ghanaian languages.
And that's it for Newsnight tonight. It's time for Personality Profile with Lexus Bill. You want to stay with him.